Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and recently I had some people ask me why they don't see me talking about doing the behind the neck press anymore, that it's an exercise I have historically supported even though it's a counterindicated exercise. And this is going to be simply put because I've changed my mind on the exercise, and I want to explain why to you guys. So let me put on my +5 hat of weaponsmithing, work on skill on my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about this. Now here we go. This is an example of me changing my mind. Some people will joke and say, flip-flop, blaha. Well, you know what, guys? When we think things through logically and we look at evidence, and sometimes we have to critically think things, we have to change our stance. I've always liked the behind-the-neck press, whether it's a strict press, a push press, and if you guys remember, even last year I was doing behind-the-neck push presses on camera. It's just a general shoulder builder. It's a good exercise. However, the situation that we come to is the fact that it's considered to be a counterindicated exercise, meaning it's one of those exercises where a lot of experts feel the risks outweigh the reward. Now, I disagree that a front press, because some experts will try to say that the front press, overhead press, is dangerous. I don't believe that it is when it's performed correctly. I don't see anyone performing it correctly ever getting hurt. People do get hurt with the behind the neck press, and it's because it can be tricky to do it right, and not everyone has the shoulder mobility to do it safely. And that's really kind of an important point, because when we start looking at this stuff, we say, okay, what are the merits of the behind the neck? Well, it works the shoulder girdle. You get a little more rear delt, a little more side delt. You lose some of the upper chest activation, and you use slightly less weight. Even with a push press, you can push press more in the front than you can in the back. So there is a trade-off in terms of overall muscle development, because some fewer muscles are involved as much, but a few of the smaller muscles get worked more. It's a fantastic overall just upper back and shoulder girdle builder. It really is, as far as your upper traps, rear delts, side delts, all of that stuff gets worked really well. It's a great exercise. The problem is that the risk to the rotator cuff is there. It is an exercise that carries a degree of risk with it. And when I think it through, when I really look at certain things, the way athletes train, and that's really what I try to promote. I try to tell the guys out there, even you guys who are chasing aesthetics, you really should train like an athlete, because you know what? Classic athletic aesthetics are coming back in. It's getting more popular. More functional training is more popular. You're going to be perceived better if you're someone who builds a physique and by training more like an athlete. It's just going to be more socially accepted these days with certain trends coming back in. And it's not like you can't build the same muscle doing more athletic lifts. And so kind of the thing that I'm looking at is, you know, I've started doing a lot of power cleans and stuff again. I used to do them many years ago, and I started doing them again, and I've realized that now that this is more common, more acceptable, there are more and more gyms that have functional strength areas. There are more and more gyms where you have bumper plates and Olympic bars and platforms. It's really common now. I find them everywhere. Like I literally have 5 gyms that I could get to in less than 30 minutes right now, that I can go do any of that stuff at easily. And that, I haven't even looked for more, because I've got access to so many. I don't have to go look for others. They're everywhere. So doing things like power cleans and snatches and stuff like that isn't a problem for people anymore. So in light of that, I have to step back and say, what real benefits are we getting from the behind the neck press? In other words, the front press is a better overall builder, meaning for everything up here, the whole front of your shoulder girdle and upper chest, and even your triceps. It's a better exercise. All right, the barbell press in the front is a better overall mass builder. All right, but the behind the neck press does hit certain parts of the shoulder girdle more. Well, given the fact that snatches and things aren't that hard to learn, hell, all the CrossFitters do them, all of them do them. They're not really that hard to learn. This sort of training is more in vogue. And you know what? If I were to look at it, couldn't people just combine overhead pressing with power cleans or snatches or high pulls and get everything that they want to get out of a behind the neck press? In fact, wouldn't they be more overall athletic? Wouldn't they get more overall development? Because that's what it comes down to. When we're selecting exercises, we all do a variety of exercises. None of us come in and do just one lift. But wouldn't a combination of either a strict standing press or a push press, combined with either a snatch, a high pull, a power clean, that would give all the shoulder girdle development that you're going to get from a behind the neck standing press or behind the neck push press. Plus, you're going to get a lot more other development through your body. These exercises allow for all the benefits. They're safer. You're going to get a higher degree of total athleticism, a higher degree of total development. And, it's kind of the whole point of, just like I'm not big on isolating muscles, I don't think it's that big of a deal, given that we can combine a couple of different exercises or just add one of our other big, fantastic compounds that improve athleticism in general. Again, any of those three I listed makes up for any benefits behind the neck has over the front press. And then we can move more weight, we can get bigger and stronger and better development using front presses. Whether it's the strict press or push press, combined with these other athletic movements. Why is there a need to do a behind the neck press? And I understand a lot of people like it. I like the behind the neck press. I think it's a fun exercise. I enjoy doing a push press behind the neck. But as we get older, is this a longevity factor? Yeah, a lot of young guys, a lot of football players and stuff do them. A lot of football players are really strong over the behind the neck push press. I know several power lifters who are really, really strong at it. I'm talking 300 plus pounds. They're out there. I know a couple. But how old are these guys? Is this an exercise we're going to be able to do indefinitely? And are the guys who are strong on it now, is it going to be a problem for them 10 years down the road? It could be. So that's what we've got to start looking at, is longevity in our training. And when I look at it from that perspective, it just doesn't seem worth it to me to do this exercise. And I would actually suggest that to all of you. A lot of you younger guys doing it, okay. Hey, I used to promote and like this exercise too, but at a certain point, we've got to step back and say, but aren't there other exercises that can fill in the gap and bring everything to the table that does, and then some more that are going to be safer? In other words, if we can get more bang for our buck, we can get more total benefits, and we can do so safely, do we need to toss this exercise away? Unless you have a very specific, sport-specific need for it, I'm going to say yeah. And I'm not telling you, look, if you just love the exercise and you don't want to quit doing it, and you're willing to accept the risk, hey, more power to you. I'm not going to stop you from doing that. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. But I know that for me, I'm not really sure I should be doing the exercise anymore. In fact, I don't feel like I should. I can do these other things. I power clean a couple days a week. All right, I have a full training day to where the strict press is my primary lift. It's a primary exercise I train right now. I want to get really, really strong on it. So in light of that, I don't need to do it. And I start to question, for a lot of you out there, the reasons you're doing it. Couldn't you just add one of these other big lifts to get that extra upper back and shoulder girdle development to your front press that it might be lacking? And keep in mind, guys, the front press, it has been shown, and people argue about it all day, oh, it doesn't necessarily build the side and rear builds. Actually, it does seem to. It actually builds them decently. I'm not saying it's the best exercise for them, but it builds them. And then what happens when you combine it with some of these other lifts? All right, these other lifts also build the shoulder girdle up. We're doing other lifts. Most of us are also doing chin-ups, rows, things like that. We can get plenty of shoulder girdle development with just a good variety of big, basic barbell movements, or even weighted body weight exercises like chin-ups. Everything will ultimately get worked. And particularly when you start throwing in some of these classical lifts and Olympic lifts, it just seems like the behind the neck press isn't really necessary. And I know some people are going to say, well, Dmitry Koklov does it, and he's a master. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. And that fair point. But, he has more extreme needs than a lot of you. I just don't think for most of us it is particularly necessary. So yeah, I've totally changed my stance on it. Now that everyone's asking, I thought I would go ahead and just clarify that, because I've had a couple people ask about it. Alright guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.